Good morning. Today we'll be presenting our final research proposal. The title is The Effects of the Resist Stretch Training Group B and Aerobic Training Group A on motor frequency in children with Tourette syndrome, a randomized controlled trial. Now, all done processes have been made in understanding Tourette syndrome, which is focused on pharmacological and psychological training. With the physical therapy have reduced little attention, this impact of the motor tics and the daily life. Currently, the evidence is limited. A review of effects of the physical therapy identified only 6 studies, have been long methodological low methodological quality, and other systematic review published in Europe. Physiatry psychologists suggest the physical activity may help reduce the tics frequency, but no exists randomized clinical trials to confirm these things. Even so, findings indicate the physiotherapy, aerobic and resistance training mainly reduce the several things by promote neuroplasticity and promote dopamine energy regulations. This study aims to compare both interventions to generate new evidence to supporting the physiotherapy as a complement for the treatment option to the children with Tourette syndrome. What are the effects of resistance strength training and aerobic training on motor tic frequency in children aged 8 and 11 years with medical diagnostic are Tourette syndrome?
Well, this study is relevant because Tourette syndrome affects not only health but also emotional, social, and academic aspects of childhood development. While medication and psychological therapies can help, they often bring limited improvement or side effects. For this reason, it is necessary to explore safe and complementary approaches such as physical therapy. Why? Well, physical therapy through movement, resistance work, and aerobic activity offers a non-invasive and potentially beneficial alternative that may support neurobiological regulation and, of course, motor control. Understanding its effects could help broaden rehabilitation options for children living with Tourette syndrome nowadays. Well, this study focuses on exploring how two types of physical training, the first one, resistance strength training, and the second one, aerobic training, may influence motor tic frequency in children aged 8 to 12 years diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. With that, our journal objective is to describe the effects of these two interventions, comparing how each one impacts the reduction of motor tics. Well, to achieve this, we established 5 specific objectives that you can see on the screen. In general, first, we want to implement a resistance strength training program for Group B and an aerobic training program for Group A, both adapted to children with Tourette syndrome aged 8 to 12 years. Second, we would like to evaluate the changes in motor tic frequency before and after each intervention using the GEO Global Tic Severity Scale. And finally, we aim to describe the overall trends observed in both groups in relation to motor tic reduction.
Tourette syndrome is a complex neuropsychiatric disorder that typically begins in the childhood, characterized by fluctuating motor and vocal tics. Although its exact cause remains unclear, abnormalities in the limbic and motor circuits of the cortex basal ganglia thalamus cortex loops work as current hypothesis. This suggests that the receptor dysfunction within the dopamine-related pathways contribute to the tic expression. Medications such as haloperidol, pamisode, aripiprazole, clonidine are used to help reduce symptoms. However, these medications share a common limitation. They often produce notable side effects that may affect tolerance, daily functioning, or long-term adherence. Given these limitations, there has been growing interest in complementary non-pharmacological approaches that aim to reduce symptoms without the burden of medical-related side effects. Physical exercise and behavioral interventions outstand as promising options to decrease motor tic frequency and enhance overall well-being. International evidence suggests that the structured physical activity may modulate dopaminergic pathways and improve motor control, supporting both tic suppression and emotional regulation. Cognitive-based interventions such as cognitive behavioral therapy, habit reversal training, and relaxation techniques have demonstrated positive side effects on symptom management. In this context, physiotherapy strategies centered on aerobic and resistance training are being explored as safe, accessible, and child-friendly. Global research emphasizes multidisciplinary and non-pharmacological integration to optimize functional outcomes and quality of life.
These interventions are not traditional medications but work through biological or neuromodulatory mechanisms, so they are considered clinical options that complement standard medical treatments. EBAG is administered intravenously or subcutaneously and is mainly used in children with PANDAS, where an infection may trigger in autoimmune reaction before symptoms appear. Its goal is to remove this infectious trigger and potentially reduce Tourette-related symptoms. Botulinum toxin blocks nerve function and reduces muscle contractions. It is injected subcutaneously to temporarily weaken muscles in movement disorder management. Side effects are usually mild and benefits are short-lived with no strong evidence for long-term effectiveness. DBS is an invasive neuromodulation procedure used for movement disorders such as Parkinson's disease and is considered when Tourette syndrome does not respond to conventional treatments. It is typically recommended for adults and has not absolute contraindications. RTMS is a non-invasive technique that uses magnetic fields to stimulate neurons and produce muscle activity. High-frequency stimulation can increase synaptic excitability, and while its use in Tourette syndrome is promising, evidence remains emerging.
I will explain the methodological framework of our study. This study is a randomized control trial to compare the effects of aerobic training, resist training, and conventional therapy on the frequency of motor tics in children with Tourette syndrome. The study followed a positive paradigm as it is based on objective measurement, control procedures, and statistical analysis. Our approach is quantitative. It's all data were collected numerically using a validated instrument. The population includes children aged 8 to 12 years with Tourette syndrome. From this group, 20 participants were selected and randomly assigned to the three groups using simple random sampling. And this methodology ensures rigor and objectivity in evaluating. For the ethical considerations, this study followed the Declaration of Helsinki and Columbus Resolution 8430 of 1993. The project was classified as minimal risk because it used only non-invasive, non-pharmacological exercise interventions. The protocol was approved by the Institutional Ethics Committee. Parents or legal guardians provided informed consent, and children gave assent when appropriate. Participation, of course, was voluntary with the option to withdraw at any time without any consequences. And confidentiality was ensured through coded data stored in password-protected files accessible only to the research team. All information of this project will be used only for academic and research purposes, and the team ensured respect, equity, and non-discrimination on all the study.